Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Studio Jake. Of course, I'm your host, Jacob Airy. Before we get started, I wanted to say that I'm sending thoughts and prayers to my friends who all live in Tennessee. They are experiencing some severe tornado damage, and there have been some reported injuries, and I just wanted to express my condolences to all the people in Tennessee. I've been to Tennessee. It's a great state. I've been to the city of Nashville, which was affected by the tornadoes. It's a great city. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that that is happening to them. I think it's horrible, and I will pray that they're able to rebuild and that their families are safe and sound. Now, be sure to like this video, be sure to share it out with your friends. If you're on YouTube, ring that bell and turn on all notifications right after you subscribe, because YouTube does this weird thing where they curate their subscriptions, so when you see them in your feed, they're not exactly in chronological order. So turn on all notifications. If you're on Facebook, like this page, share it out so more people can like it, and turn on notifications there as well. We're going to be talking about Star Wars retcons galore. With that in mind, sit back, relax, and welcome to Studio Jake. Welcome back. So, Star Wars, Revenge of the Retcons. So we've got two major ones that I'm going to talk about. They're both equally ridiculous. So this is coming from Bounding into Comics, and specifically from John Trent, who's one of their chief editors. He actually might be the chief editor. I know he also hosts their YouTube channel. So he writes, Emperor Palpatine actor Ian McDiarmid, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, recently confirmed that confirmation that his character was a clone was cut from Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. That his comments, seen below, came after the novelization of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker retconned Palpatine into a clone. So basically what happened was the film showed the return of Palpatine, spoiler alert, and when the novelization came out, people were kind of like, wait a minute, they're all, they're making these changes and they're trying to fill in holes for the narrative of the story, because The Rise of Skywalker did have several plot holes and things left open, and so in the novelization they're trying to reveal. So John Trent continues, in the novelization it is revealed that Palpatine's spirit is housed within a cloned body. The novelization reads in part, what could you give me? Kylo asked. Emperor Palpatine lived after a fashion, and Kylo could feel in his very bones that his cloned body sheltered the Emperor's actual spirit. It was an imperfect vessel, though, unable to contain his immense power. It couldn't last much longer. So this has been, I was kind of suspicious that this was the case, especially when The Rise of Skywalker revealed that Snoke was in fact a clone. I kind of was suspicious that somewhere along the line that was part of the plan. And so the Emperor Palpatine actor, it says he confirms there was actual dialogue in the first draft of the Rise of Skywalker script that confirmed his character was inhabiting a clone body. And apparently he said this at a Comic-Con. He explains, of course, there are all sorts of explanations for why I might return. He continues, it's very interesting. I think I can reveal something. At one point, the script had the line in that first scene with Adam when he says, you're a clone. And I said in that original script, which is no longer with us, more than a clone, less than a man. So here's my thing with this. The Rise of Skywalker was trying to fix what Rian Johnson had ruined. Rian Johnson is a hack filmmaker. I've not seen Knives Out yet. I know people are loving it, but I'm going to hold off on seeing it until, well, basically I feel like it. I let someone else review it on my blog. But I think that it's more important that you can see the chaos that was happening behind the scenes at Lucasfilms after George Lucas left. Say what you want to about George Lucas, even prequel haters have to admit that at least the prequels that were overseen by George Lucas, I mean, he was hands-on. He directed all 3 of the films. There at least is a coherent plot there. He says, I want to get from young Anakin to Darth Vader. That was his whole plan. But you can tell that all Kathleen Kennedy wanted to do was, she was like, I just want to enter the new generation of Star Wars characters. And that of itself is not a bad thing, but she wanted to do this thing, and she had Rian Johnson in particular do this, where she subverted the expectations of the fans. You should never try to subvert expectations. You should try to exceed them. And there is a difference. Subverting is like you go, oh my gosh, well, you know, that twist, ah. But twists are meant to exceed expectations. And that is true of all genres, not just science fiction. And so with this revelation that Emperor Palpatine was a clone, like I said, I was kind of suspicious of that. What made me not so, or to look the other way, I should say, is when I saw the movie and Palpatine is all injured. And so I thought, oh, this is just Palpatine, and he's severely injured. He somehow held himself together with the Force. But then that also goes to the question of, why would having Rey's power repair that body? Why would it make the clone body more powerful? It doesn't make sense. I mean, it just adds another layer of questions. And I know J.J. Abrams is kind of the king of the mystery box, but eventually you've got to start opening those boxes and letting us know what the answer is on the inside. You can't just keep saying, okay, here's a mystery, and then here's another mystery, and you open this box. They can't be rusting nesting balls. They have to be something inside the box. And this is what I've always said about Rian Johnson films, is Rian Johnson films they're essentially Christmas presents, and they have beautiful wrapping. And but when you open them, you pull open the box, it sucks. J.J. Abrams films you open them, and you open them all the way, and it's another box. And then so you have to open that box and that box. And I really felt like he never got to the final box with The Rise of Skywalker. And to me, this Emperor Palpatine clone thing shows this. He really should have been more focused on developing why Palpatine was alive. I actually don't have a problem. I know that I have some friends who've said, oh, Palpatine's return totally destroys what his death meant between Luke and Darth Vader. No, Darth Vader's action proves that. To me, having Palpatine return doesn't necessarily undercut what Luke Skywalker has done. I mean, Dark Horse had this whole comic book series called Dark Empire, where he basically comes back, and it's revealed that he has a bunch of clones. And I really think that's where they got the ideas for this. And I think that they should have paid more attention to what they were doing, especially in regards as big a character as Emperor Palpatine is supposed to be. I mean, he's the final Sith Lord, basically. And I think that they should have gone more fully in with developing his character. So the next retcon that the novelization does is they made the kiss between Kylo Ren and Rey at the climax of the film not be a romantic one. It was a kiss of gratitude. So this also comes from the novelization. Now this is from comicbook.com, and they are not always a reliable source. They are pretty much an SJW politically correct source, but they did quote the novel. So it says, his heart was full, he being Kylo Ren, as Rey reached for his face. Let her fingers linger against his cheek, and then wonders of wonders. She leaned forward and kissed him, a kiss of gratitude, acknowledgement of their connection, celebration that they'd found each other at last. But then she drew back, concern on her face. She could feel him growing close, and smiled at her. He had given Rey back to the galaxy. It wouldn't atone for the darkness he brought, but it was what he could do. Sorry. So I think that this is kind of a sad look at kind of the state of Star Wars, that they're so concerned with angering SJWs, because at first the SJWs wanted Rey and Kylo Ren to get together. They wanted them to be a couple. Why? I don't know. I think that it was kind of dumb, but there was these whole Reylo fans that were incredibly toxic. Well, then, so they actually had them kiss on screen, right? And lo and behold, now they're mad because they say Kylo was the villain, and it was an abusive relationship. I'll grant you that it was kind of an abusive relationship. I mean, he was the villain, but the whole point of the redemption is that he could have been saved. And like Darth Vader, he dies so that he could uh, save the galaxy. And I just think that this is kind of silly. This Star Wars retconning just to please the toxic fans who ruin the continuity, who ruin the expectations of the fans. They they changed it to a they changed it into something that was meant to be a uniting force, no pun intended, to being something that split the fandom. And I just think that's kind of sad. I think that Star Wars is meant to be a uniting fandom. It's meant to be something that brings people together. So that's all the time I have for today. I know that this was a shorter video, but I've got some other projects going on. I hope that you like this video. Be sure to share it out. Follow me on Twitter at RealJacobBerry. Parler is RealJacobBerry. Instagram is RealJacobBerry. Facebook is Author JacobBerry. YouTube is StudioJake. And of course, you can find my blog, jacobberry.blog. And don't forget to pick up your copy of my novel, The Seven Royals, All Good Things. It's a fantasy, a high fantasy that you'll love. No political correctness in there, no caving to SJW pressure. Pick it up on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Kobo.com, or get it directly from my publisher at BookLocker.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.